everyone, it's Louisa Tania, and I'm here today with the lovely Tania Castillo, who is one of my most beautiful friends who I love and appreciate in my life. We met early on when I arrived in Portugal, and we've had these regular conversations since we've known each other. And every time we get together, we always, I don't know, our conversations go wild, don't they, with possibility?
Yeah, they do.
So we thought we would get together and just really enjoy the space of us getting together once a month to see what comes up, to share with our communities. We've both got different things that we can add from different perspectives. And so Tania had a lovely idea of us looking at feeling into new beginnings, because there is the solstice, not the solstice, the equinox on Saturday, the 20th of March. So it's a season change. So over to you, Tania. What would you like to say? How do you see the seasons come in? Do you do anything?
First of all, I just want to say our intro is so cool. Now,
it really is, isn't it?
That little video clip. Oh, just love it. Anyway.
I'm glad you like it.
Now, just about the seasons. So for me, equinoxes and solstices are, even without even knowing, they're always very powerful moments of the year, because they are natural. There is this natural transition, and it's not necessarily on a specific date. I feel it's a period of time where the season change happens, which is, would say, like 1 or 2 weeks before the equinox and after, and the same thing with the solstices. So what I feel is we start sort of diving into that change, which is always welcome, because the thing that is always real here on earth is change. So it's just that feeling into what's possible. It always opens new possibilities. That's what I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already got people watching us and liking us. That's amazing.
Yay!
And Doris, hi Doris.
Hi Doris.
So anyone who's listening live, if you want to send us a little message via the chat function, please do, and we'll get back to you, as soon as we can. We'll feature you on our show.
Yay.
So good to find out how other people like to celebrate the changing of the seasons, because like you, I also agree that it starts in increments. And I don't know if you have different traditions in Portugal, like in England. In England, we have seasons of, for instance, we say we do spring cleaning, that energy of wanting to get everything clean and fresh and get rid of the cobwebs and bring new energy in. And we all do start doing that, don't we? We start waking up earlier. It's wonderful.
Yeah, naturally, even before the time changes.
Yes. And so what are you feeling about the energy? Katerina has joined us to say that she loves our energy, which is really lovely.
Thank you, Katerina.
And we've also got a lovely hello from Matea.
Hi, Matea.
And with a beautiful heart. I love that. I love all these emojis. How are you sensing the energy going ahead?
So I feel, first of all, it's unprecedented. What I'm feeling now is with everything that's going on, it's unprecedented. So because there has been so much fear building up throughout the whole year, because we have had this building up for more or less a year, or even a few months more.
Yeah.
What happens is, what I feel at this moment with this spring cleanup, this spring opening, this return of the flowers, is exactly this blooming potential. And why? Because fear it only serves one purpose: for us to remember. When the fear gets too noisy, then we start feeling uncomfortable. And when we start feeling uncomfortable, that's when we start asking ourselves the question, why am I here? Who am I? Where am I going? Where did I come from? And so because this fear has incremented throughout a whole year at a massive scale, at a global scale, this opens up something that I feel like a critical mass towards a lot of people all of a sudden starting to ask themselves these questions. People who maybe never even gave it a second thought, who were going on about their regular lives, but then all of a sudden COVID came and lives just changed, and everyone had to adapt to that one way or another, kicking and screaming peacefully, whatever way. But everyone was affected. And that put things in perspective, and people started feeling and thinking, oh, I can't take life for granted like I used to. And of course, as well as this brings up fear, it also brings up the opposite, because fear is only the reverse hologram of love. And love is only remembering that you are God also. So I feel that this is a massive opportunity now, this spring sort of push, like when a baby is born, like when we're giving birth, that last push where there is a bit of fear maybe at that last moment, and then there's that release. That's what I feel.
Yes. In fact, astrologically, I thought the new moon that we just had was just like that, because it was absolutely rife with kind of birthing energy. It was like we were in the birthing waters of Pisces with the new moon. We had Venus, we had Neptune, all higher harmonics of love. And we were actually talking offline, weren't we? And I was saying that when I had my 3, immediately before I gave birth, I actually thought I was going to die, and said, I don't think I can do this. Take it back, put it back in. And then,
but you can't.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing you can do. You have to absolutely surrender to the full experience. And then you go through your death and you push your beautiful baby out. And then all there is love, and you forget about the pain. I love what you said, that it's about remembrance. And before we keep moving on, we're getting loads of people saying hello to us. So Katerina is saying, yes, we're star cleaning everything. I love that. Star cleaning almost sounds better than spring cleaning, doesn't it? And we've been joined by Eloise.
Hello,
hi,
Eloise.
And Shannon Renee Brown from Texas. So we're reaching out to the world. It's amazing. And this is a new name for me. This must be one of your followers and
colleagues. Aeelah. Aeelah. I love that name.
So yes, it's a lovely name. Yes, I fully agree with that, about the reverse polarities. I was talking with, and Aeeah's coming from Slovenia. Thanks for letting us know. So we really are. Let's see if we can go even further. Let's see how far we might. That would be awesome.
From Asia. Come on, people. From Africa. Yeah. Come on.
I got some friends in Canada as well. Let's see how far we can go. And Mr. Munson from next door. Hola todos.
Munson in the house. Hi.
Perini.
India. Perini. Hi.
It's almost like a sort of kind of worldwide Eurovision Song Contest, only I'm not going to.
Please don't sing. I'm not going to sing, I promise you.
I won't either. So, okay. So there's a bit of a chat going on. So we've got Aeelah from Bulgaria sometimes as well. It's handy to live on the borders. And Perini just confirming India. Oh, Yay. And Gregor as well.
So Gregor from Slovenia, I think.
Hi, Gregor. So this almost feels like a huge meeting of minds, doesn't it? It feels great that we've got you listening. I wonder how you celebrate spring. What changes are you feeling consciously? For me, I'm really getting the urge just to, and you'll like this, Tania, just to breathe and not need to know the answer to anything.
Just on that note, sharing about our green thing. So
Yeah.
when I came into the room and I looked at Louisa and oh, you've got a green thing, and oh, I've got one too. And Louisa was saying, yeah, because it's spring. And I was saying, well, I just put this blouse on in the morning without thinking about it. That's just breathe. So we breathed it together, even though we didn't know.
That's fantastic. I'm going to keep adding in all the comments as they come up. So I've learned to breathe, and I need to carry on breathing, and I'm going to start following your guidance, because I know when I've listened to some of your work, I felt myself really relax very quickly. And I think you're in a place of choice then, aren't you? When you allow yourself to relax, everything happens.
And you don't even think about it. Yeah, it's just so natural. You don't really need to think about it, and there is no resistance. Some people sometimes actually get angry and frustrated when I say that how can it be? It just is. just allow it. It's true. This is also very conducive at this moment now of spring, to allow something like this in each one's life to, okay, let me try that out. Just try it out and see. Of course, if there are belief systems in the background saying, no, it can't be like that, life can't be that simple, well, first invite those belief systems back home peacefully. You don't need to fight against them, don't need to judge them. You created them. I mean, why would you judge them? So just bring them back home and take a deep breath, say, okay, I'm ready. And while we're in this experience of living without resistance, in this natural flow, sometimes when something comes up that wants to prove to us that it's not that simple, all we need to do is stop, look at that, and see what that is telling us about ourselves. Where is that coming from? And simply, integrate whatever is wanting to stand in the way of simplicity. And spring, with all of the blooming, the seeds that we plant in our vegetable gardens coming up, all of this birthing, like you said, allows for birthing something like this as well. Because people were reminded very, very seriously in this last year that nothing is as it seems to be. I mean, you cannot take anything for granted.
Yes.
It was a huge reminder. So why not try a new way?
Yeah, absolutely. And Sean is reminding us that it was also St. Patrick's Day yesterday, another type of celebration. And, even though it's got a sort of a slightly raucous, fun,
euphoric
energy. Yes, it's euphoric. It's very much about life, isn't it? It's very much about sharing and enjoying the joy of life open-heartedly. I love that. And Shannon's also welcoming me back to Facebook. That's very nice of you to say that, Shannon. Thank you.
Yeah, Louisa, thank you for coming back.
Well, it was you that got me back, actually. Project later on this year. So I'm very grateful to you for that.
Last day before you were going to really end your subscription.
Yeah, definitely. Before we go any further, I just want to share a little bit of info about the astrology that's coming up for the equinox. I keep going to call it a solstice. Because when I was looking at it, there's quite a few asteroids that are coming into alignment with the sun at the time of the equinox. And it's happening at 9:38 local time. That's to us in Portugal and also to London. So we're with GMT. And the sun is just going into the sign of Aries. And when we were talking about possibility, Tania, one of the things I really like about the solstice and equinox points, they represent 0 point energy in astrology. It's when we're going like a quarter of the way through the circle. And you go, you get to 0 degrees in Aries, and it feels like you've got this almost like a portal. And again, this is getting a bit womb-like, because I do think a womb, when we're pregnant, is like a portal to, I don't know where exactly, but to endlessness. Where do those babies come from? Who knows? We know how we create them, but
so fabulous.
Where does their energy come from? Where does their soul come from? And so I do think some kind of conjuring goes on in our womb. It's a portal to somewhere else, a trapdoor somewhere. But the starts of each season, the astrological starts, represent like putting our hand into a magician's hat and pulling out whatever it is we want to pull out. And so what we're really focusing on, we can really manifest and bring about almost without restriction. It feels like there's very little, what's the word I'm thinking of? Resistance. It just feels like a time when it's zero resistance. But what I really notice about the astrology that sets the scene for this new season, I'm describing it like a toddler. And we all know toddlers. We've all been around young children. It's like a toddler who's just learnt to walk, getting distracted by everything he sees, or she sees. So it's like the Aries energy of getting up on our feet after what's been going on in the last season, getting back up again, ready to explore and enjoy the world and learn about it, and getting distracted by everything along the way. So we're in a very sort of distracting season, but also one where we're like an infant. We're fascinated, but also motivated by this feeling of self-discovery. And the solstice is connecting to an asteroid called Manwe, who is also known as being the god of grace, or the law of grace. It's associated with getting the chance to make better decisions and making better choices, correct actions. So it's kind of reflective. It's almost giving us a reboot. It's also in a conjunction with Venus. And of course, Venus is about choosing love and compassion. It's also in a conjunction with asteroid Isis. And if you know about Isis's symbology, one of it is about resurrection and trying to find wholeness. It's where we're almost searching for a missing link. We know something's not quite right. Like you were saying, Tania, most of us have known that something's not quite right for a little while now, if not longer. So there's this real strong feeling of freshness, wanting to do things the right way, wanting to be whole, and wanting to resurrect, which kind of leads up to a sort of Easter feeling, doesn't it? It's also in opposition to Narcissus, asteroid Narcissus, which is showing we're coming out of a time of selfishness and absorption with our own problems. So I think it's heralding quite a nice, fresh new start. It's direct, it's dynamic, we're inquisitive, we're actually asking questions now, and we're open to making different decisions. So I'm kind of excited by it. It feels fresh, it feels in alignment. I love it. How does that fit in with your reading of energy just in general?
It fits in just so perfectly, because notice it's this opportunity to do things a new way, to reassess our position. So where we were coming from, does it still serve me, or am I going to bring this back home and experiment a new kind of enjoyment, a new kind of inspiration with my life, find a new inspiration from this new opportunity. And isn't it so fantastic that life keeps on giving us? It's so bountiful. It's always constantly giving us new opportunities to discover the new. And what I feel about the new is really when we are able to remain present in our center, in our knowingness, in the human divine connection within us. We are always in the new, because we are always in the now. And being in this now allows us to have one point of observation, which allows us to see more. Because if we're distracted all over the place, we can only see very limited perspectives. But now if we land in one place, then we can look all around, and we can choose, and we can reassess, and we can experience new. So basically, it's aligned with this quality here on earth. The quality of physicality is permanent change. Therefore, it's permanent new. So the simple way to allow this this seamlessness with what physicality and life on earth is to be in the now. Being in the now allows being in the new, allows the flow of change to be graceful, as you said, to invite grace, to receive grace, to be grace, to be graceful. Because the breath, if we just breathe, it's grace. It's natural grace. We have it all the time. I mean, it's with us permanently, 24/7. But it does require, oh, wait a minute, let me come back to here. And so what was before can also gracefully tiptoe closer to that point of reconnection and see, okay, do you still need me, or can I come and dissolve? And that's where everything happens, really, because the past comes back into here, and the future then is simply a consequence of this aligned nowness. That's all. As the past merges into here, because it really doesn't exist anywhere else, I am the one who perceives it. And if I'm here now, I am nowhere else. Well, I am multidimensionally, but I mean,
that's for another conversation.
That's for another day.
I love it.
So it totally aligns with what you're sharing.
I really love what you're saying, that now and new, the connection between now and new. I'd never actually thought of it in that way before. I love that. So really, our toddler-like selves that are eager to explore and getting distracted, we need to just sit down every few minutes. Every time we fall down, because we're only just learning to walk.
Wobbly.
Every time we balance ourselves and sit down, that's the time to be in the now and to breathe in the new, or accept the new. And Louise has just shared that she feels the start of spring has really made her want to raise her physical, spiritual, and emotional energies. Yeah, I really hear you, Eloise. And funnily enough, Aeelah has also shared that she's recorded 2 songs, ready to play and ready to receive. It truly can be that easy. I'd love to listen to those.
Please post the links on the chat.
Yeah, please do. I'd really love to listen to those. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Love it. Now, you were saying something at the start, and I wanted to come to it. And as I started to ask you about it, it went from my mind, which is me really being in the now, isn't it? Holding on
that
to
happens a lot.
I was holding on to that thought, ready to ask you, took a deep breath in, went into the now. That thought's gone. No.
It happens to me all the time.
I've remembered it. So you were saying that you were noticing that lots of people at the moment are starting to open up and get curious. And one of the things I've been noticing actually since the whole start of the COVID, I'm going to call it a phenomenon. I'm uncomfortable calling it anything else because to me, it doesn't, I'm not convinced about the narrative that we hear. It's probably the truthful way that I can express myself. It's a strange thing. And when I think about it, the energy reading I get from the whole idea of COVID is that it's not truthful. I don't get a consistent pattern when I sort of tune into it. It seems it doesn't have a very easy resonance. It doesn't sit well with me. But anyway, aside from that, at the time when our freedoms, when people were choosing to protect each other and choosing to stay in, and considering life from a new perspective, I started noticing that my work got easier, and Carl's work, my husband's work, got easier, and also living got easier. I started noticing that there was some ease. And I said to him, I think something's changing in the world, because our situation, it didn't feel like we were working any differently. But to me, it felt like there may have been some breaks holding us in place, holding our energy in place somehow. And it felt like something had loosened around us, a bit like if you had a boa constrictor on you. It felt like the grip had been released. And then as the year progressed, things got easier and easier. And I just said to him again recently, I think consciousness is changing and shifting, because again, there's this new feeling of ease for us to be able to follow our dreams and really feel like ourselves. And I know that we will have brought that in ourselves. And I'm also noticing with the people that I work with, the fabulous people I work with all around the world, that a lot of them are also experiencing ease. And so I just wanted to share that with you, that I think as consciousness is changing worldwide, that like it's evidence, I think, the fact that our life anyway is getting easier, and the people that I'm in contact with, it's easing, it's lightening.
Yeah.
Way. And I know that's not the truth for everybody else.
Of
so
course,
maybe
there's a lot of difficulty for many people.
Yeah.
But that's also the invitation for massive change.
Yes. Can you run me through how you see that
What
happening?
I feel about that ease, just to tap into that, it's really interesting, because as the world stopped back in March last year, with all of the lockdowns, all of a sudden I felt a hush, a silence, because the thing is, the world was too noisy. There was too much commotion, too much rush, too much greed, too much lack going on everywhere. And then all of a sudden, everyone had to sort of slow down now. And everyone was made to slow down. And this is not a coincidence. So, and when this happened, and again now in these last lockdowns, during that time, I feel there is so much free space. So it's a funny thing, because it's sort of like opposite to feeling okay, you don't have the freedom to roam around and to do whatever you like outside of the home. But on the other hand, if you tap into your expanded consciousness, you'll realize that you tap into a dimension that is very uncluttered. So a lot of free space opens up. And what I feel for those who are conscious of this, who are aware of this, is that you are providing a great service just by staying in that uncluttered free space. Because first of all, you're not getting distracted, tipping one way or the other, whatever. And that is creating exactly the potential for, so when everyone stops being distracted with whatever each one perceives is going on, and all of a sudden decides, okay, let's get on with life again, which is basically what's going to start happening at this time now.
Yeah.
Things will have settled because of all of those who tapped into that silent ease and grace, that free space, which is an interdimensional space that you tap into if you expand your consciousness beyond the just limited focus on I am a small, helpless human. So when you get out of that mode and realize you're not just that, no, you are not even that, you are beyond that, you are a human, you are a spirit having a human experience. And so then you are a very honorable human, because this experience, whatever it is absolutely valuable. Otherwise, you wouldn't be having it. So all of those who tapped into that, what you're saying, that ease, provided that for many more by staying in it, by bringing it into their own lives. The more people who allow this ease and grace to become their reality, the more people can tap into that if they want to, because there is no agenda here. There is no ready-made agenda that it has to be that way. The only thing is, it just becomes more available. So now, when everyone starts moving into getting active again and getting out of the house and all that, probably these new possibilities will become evident, because there's more uncluttered space, less noise. So people will naturally more easily tap into possibilities that they weren't able to tap into before. So this is what I perceive of this shift, which is, it's just amazing, really. If we remove the judgment around whether it's good or bad and all of the consequences and etc. and so on, and we just tap into what has happened at a more expanded level of consciousness, it's amazing. It's a global scale thing. And this is unprecedented.
Yes, it's a pattern interrupt, isn't it? It has interrupted the human pattern of life and busyness.
Yeah. And it was so necessary for this to happen, because there was really, we were getting, we, humanity, getting too busy. And whenever there's sort of a bias towards one side, of course, something has to happen to bring back the balance. It's just the way it works in duality.
Yeah.
Natural thing.
Wow.
No matter where it's coming from. No matter whether we believe it's true or false or not, beyond all of that, it's just a product of our joint consciousness. And what I feel now is that also mass consciousness is experiencing a huge shift, because now more and more humans are aware of this expanded space of ease and grace and simplicity. And that creates within the mass of human consciousness a completely new vibe, completely different.
Yes, definitely.
So, it's really an effortless thing to just stay in that and, stay focused on, just be present, be the magnificent one that you are, and that's it. Just focus on that. And that is such a service to all, not only on Earth, to the whole universe.
Oh, I wish I was close enough to give you a big hug.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I really need to hug you. Because if we were in touch right now, that's what we'd be able to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes that shared physical space is a huge blessing, isn't it?
Yes.
You feel the You feel the intention of the other person, don't you? You don't even need words.
Yeah. It is true. And hopefully now that will become more valuable. I feel also people have had to reevaluate the value they gave to each other's company and to each other's presence. And when now people become more able to be with each other, it will have a completely new meaning. Love will be able to be shared in a whole new way.
Yeah. Yes. And presumably with that comes forgiveness, or a reality that, you know, there is no forgiveness, there's no need.
There is no need for it. Yes, exactly. It's just a letting go of whatever was stuck, creating noise, creating disturbance in the natural ease and flow that we are intrinsically. And if we remove the need to blame, the need to feel guilty, both things.
Yes, there are guilt throwers and guilt catchers.
All of a sudden, it becomes so silent. And then what fills that? What fills what is left when there's no more blame, shame, and guilt? Just presence. It's just, wow, I'm so grateful that you are in my life. So I feel really we're looking at, there's no point hanging on to the fear, because we are looking at a magnitude of change that we have no idea yet of how it's going to pan out, what it's going to look like, but we can feel that it's huge. It's huge. If we don't keep stuck in the judgment mode of wrong or right, good and bad, and this shouldn't be happening, and that, this and that, pity, etc. If we don't get stuck in that and remain in that 0 point that you're talking about, remain in that neutral space, wow. I'm just, fascinated and content and very peacefully just watching and grateful, really, that all of this has happened. Who was gonna say a year ago that something like this would happen throughout last year? I mean, and I know there are people who are living terribly challenging situations economically, that they are experiencing huge pain. But again, we grow into these blooming flowers that are all so unique from pain.
Yes.
That's where we find the need to let go of whatever is causing pain and to see beyond that, to allow new possibilities. So instead of, okay, the pain has been precious, now don't hold on to it. Look around.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I think your message has really touched Pedro. Pedro has joined.
Hi, Pedro.
It reminds me, because like my children are a bit younger than yours, and so I've got a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 9-year-old, and their responses to pain are very different. So 2-year-old just cries instantly, gets my attention, looks very sad. If I just attend to him, if I just hold him, let him know that he's heard, all of a sudden he just kind of shakes his head and then just walks away. He forgets all about it. There's something in the acknowledgement of it. It's like he just lets go of it instantly. And then our 5-year-old will let me know that she's got pain, and then will remind me a bit later that she had pain, that she still has pain, that how the pain is healing. And then the 9-year-old, and I think, oh gosh, have they got that from me? And they do learn from us, don't they? But the notion of pain, almost like my 5-year-old, she has a tiny little paper cut on her finger from like 2 days ago, and she's watching it like a hawk to see if it's healing or not. I know it's going to heal fine, but for her, it's a problem. So yeah, so when we're very innocent and when we don't seem to have much of the world impressed upon us, our notion of pain and healing, we don't know to let things go or to hold on to things. We just actually let it go. And I look at my dogs, or like we've actually had a birth here this week. A baby lamb was born because my land, 2 pregnant sheep turn up, and now we've got like 2 little lambs. But they and our chickens as well. If something happens, they all of a sudden just shake, and all of a sudden they shake it off. And if you've got a dog or a cat, you'll know that every now and again they just shake everything. And children as well. Like one of my sons will be doing this sometimes, like tapping or moving his leg. And I have moments of that. But as we get older, we start controlling our body so much more. I think it's really natural. It's like the body knows what to do, and it shakes and releases energy. And yet we want to control everything. So it just doesn't happen as much.
Yeah. And so it's coming back to that innocence. And now this Aries, which is exactly that.
It's the new child.
Come to that innocence. Be innocent.
Definitely. There's something
and the innocent doesn't need to forgive, because it doesn't know guilt yet.
Yes.
Come back into the innocence.
Yeah. Yes, my little 2-year-old doesn't know guilt yet, but I'm sure we'll teach him.
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's part of Earth.
We'll try not to. That reminds me, there was one part of the spring equinox astrology that I think is really special, and I just wanted to say, I think this season is going to see a whole load of new births, because as the sun crosses into the sign of Aries at the time of the equinox, it's also exactly at the same place as asteroid child. And when I've been following the pregnancies of women that I've worked with and looked at my own, and cross-reference with family and friends and things, asteroid child often shows up around the time of birth, and it's a really useful asteroid to use in response to birthing questions. And so I do think the start of this season has got even more birthing energy now.
Wow.
So whilst and you were talking about the swings and balances, I'm not entirely sure that the amount of people that have been dying have particularly changed. I think the reasons why people are dying has been changed based on the information that I've been given. Mm-hmm. But in the idea of swings and roundabouts, with so much focus on death, it's quite natural. Yeah. Now there's this focus on birth.
On birth. Definitely. You spoke something about an asteroid that's going to be crossing nearby Earth on the 21st.
I forgot to look that up. I'm so sorry. I'll put some information about it in the comments.
Yeah, that would be really interesting, because it's on the 21st, right?
Yeah. Yes, I think an asteroid is crossing very close to Earth, and it's one of the largest asteroids to pass Earth at that time, literally the day after the equinox. And I don't think these things are by chance. I think the cosmos has a divine order to it. If God, or whoever you believe God to be, whether it's energy, the universe, we've all got different names. But if the power behind everything was talking to us, how would it talk to us? There's so many different ways. People see signs in front of them. Lots of people like feathers or notice nature, and nature speaks to them. Or like we all recognize patterns. We're pattern builders. We're always making meaning. And yes, I think the planets do speak to us. And when we were talking a couple of days ago, I was explaining why I like using asteroids in astrology. The planets give us a really good framework, and they definitely carry a very strong energy, and I pay a lot of attention to them. But the asteroids live in a range of belts around the solar system. According to where they are, they have a different kind of effect. So some of them are out past Neptune and almost out towards Pluto, some even beyond that. And some of them are in between this sort of intense space between Mars and Jupiter. And some of them seem to cross the orbits of Uranus and Saturn, and almost come in even further into our solar system. Now, astrologers, when we look at the meaning of the planets, we consider that the Mercury, Venus, and Mars, the ones closest to us, represent personal planetary energy. So there are personality, our traits, and things like that. And then Jupiter and Saturn are a little bit further out, and they're like a bridge. And then Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto represents consciousness. It's not so personalized. It's detached from us. It's really deep knowledge that we can't possibly understand in its entirety. And I see that the asteroids kind of that move in between the orbits between the planets, they're like messengers. A bit like when I was at school, my teacher would say, because I was a goody two shoes, she'd say, Louisa, can you go and give this note to the secretary? And because, they didn't have email when I was at school. So, I was moving from one part of the school to the other, sending a message, and that's what's happening with asteroids. So I'd be really keen to have a look at that asteroid and see what it might be meaning.
Then put it in the chat for this sharing, so that we can all just out of fun curiosity, because it all aligns, and it's just sort of when we live in complete trust, we trust it completely, and we never even give it a second thought. But of course, it's helpful for people to fall into that complete trust and realize, oh, I was already feeling that. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I knew. Oh, yeah, of course. And so it sort of allows people to feel more comfortable step by step to fall into that complete trust, which then of course requires no map study, like you yourself said about your own readings, that you just have a look at it and then you feel it so intensely that at a certain point you're not even looking at the map anymore when you give someone a reading. Like you just start, and then it just
takes
that's
over.
what I call becoming a master at whatever you're doing. You just allow it to dance. You allow the planets to dance for you, and you just feel their dance and share what you're feeling, and that's it. And they do dance. I mean, everything on this planet and in the universe dances in tune to existence, and we are part of that existence. So as you said, there's a natural, it's not an order as in preconceived order, but a natural order to all things. They just happen in sync to each other, be they of course nice or not nice. I mean, depending on, like, we can see them and perceive them depending on our belief systems and where we grew up and so, but beyond whether we see them as nice or bad or whatever, they all have a natural conjunction. And we are like sort of asteroids dancing here on planet Earth, sort of influencing each other. All like our cells are that. Yeah. Our atoms are that. It's all circular.
Yes.
And the most intelligent bodies of consciousness are all round, spherical.
Yes. I can't say anything else at the moment. I sometimes speak to my cells and try and listen to them I think our bodies can talk to us. I think we can listen to everything.
Yeah, I do that all the time too. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels
when I was in India, 2018, I remember, I went to visit Khajuraho, which is a beautiful place with lots of, with all of these Tantra monuments from long time ago. And what happened was, because it was very, very hot, then I got a blister on my nose. And so then that blister just then became a really like sort of quite ugly kind of how do you call it, a sore thing, not a after the boil it started healing, right? So it became that brown thing. I can't remember how you say it in English. Anyway, so it was huge, and I was going to a conference. And I was going to speak. But I really wasn't worried about that. And I was in conversation with some friends outside in the hall. And they were saying, so are you putting any cream there? What are you going to do about it? I just asked it what it needed, and it just said love. So that's all I'm doing.
That's perfect. And I'm sure when you were doing your conference as well, there'd have been a lot of people giving you love to your face.
Yeah.
Oh.
Such a funny thing, a funny episode.
Tania, I'm feeling the need for us to draw this to a close now. Because otherwise I think we'll have to commit to this all night and just talk until about 4 o'clock.
We would just go on and on, right?
For sure. Is there anything else just one last thing you'd like to share to people, or
one last thing? Trust your intuition, trust each breath. That's what I like to share. Trust each breath. Trust. It will never ever lead you astray.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
What about you? What would you like to share?
I think a bit like trust. But you said that, so I couldn't say that. Shannon is saying, I love that.
We're in tune.
Yes, definitely. I would like, I've been connecting to the energy of being held, either holding myself, like feeling myself, like imagining my etheric self or my higher self or a different aspect of me holding me. And in that hold, communicating, it's going to be okay. I was thinking, like little children sometimes need their father or their mother or someone that they trust, just to, at times of great change. We can't all be pioneers and be full of confidence 100%. And I think where our trust falters from time to time, just to take yourself, like your little self or your big self, and just let them know the words that you'd have loved to have heard from your parents or from your favorite grandparent. And is that they put their arm around you, they say, let's have a cup of tea, a slice of cake, it's going to be okay. And just, I'd love to convey that feeling to people. It will be okay. I really feel it. My trust is telling me this is all going to work out. And we've got to trust the process, like you say, and pick a lane. When we're talking about, deciding where we're going, how we're heading, it's a very special time.
What a beautiful conversation. Wow.
And it's our first official one, isn't it? So it's very special. Thank you so much. Big thumbs up to everybody that's listened and participated.
Thank you to everyone who's joined in and also sort of brought in your inspiration here.
Wow. And Helen has said thanks for sharing as well.
Hi, Helen. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So all in all, how far have we reached around the world tonight? So we've got to England, Ireland, India, Slovenia, Bulgaria, US, Texas. That's not a bad start.
Any other country that we're not saying?
I think that's not a bad start. That's 7 different countries I've counted so far. Let's see if we can get this wave of love and trust going even further next time. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, everybody.
Love that name. We're not going to change it to a wave of love and trust, but I do like that name for our conversations.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It really is. So thank you all for joining us. Look out for our next appointment. We don't know when it's going to be, do we? But we'll find a magical date and we'll invite you all to come and join us. And if you've got any ideas on what we can do or talk about, please share them with us. We're really happy to see how everything is flowing. Oh, and we've got an 8th planet, not planet, an 8th country. Doris has joined us from Germany tonight.
Yes, so of course. Doris is from Germany. Yeah.
With some parting comments. We've loved this. A wonderful conversation, wonderful energy, wonderful time of the year. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Barbara is about to have a baby.
Wow, that's
in the next weeks, like week, 2 weeks, whatever, 3
Barbara,
weeks.
So exciting. And so your mum's going to become a grandmother.
Sophia is coming.
Wow. Oh, this is a very special time. Wow. I wish you a very, very safe and beautiful delivery for your much beloved baby. That's wonderful news. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
We're really going to go now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And the reason we don't know the date is on purpose, because Louisa is going to figure that out, there.
Yeah. So anyway, lots of love to you all. We're both joining you from Portugal, wherever you are in the world. Lots of love. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Mwah.